In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make cake, and if you stay to the end of the video, I'll show you a pro tip that not many people know, surprisingly. So with that being said, let's get into it. So as you can see here, we have some already made. We've got 40 there. So if you check out the ingredients list, we're going to need flour, red berries, milk, egg and honey. So I'll run you through how you get all these ingredients. So the first ingredient is flour. Now you're going to need wheat in order to get flour. So you'll need a wheat plantation like this one here. Eventually, you should be able to build up a stack of wheat. So if you look in my fridge here, we have 1,473. Once you have that, you're going to need the mill. Now the mill is just this item here, and it's unlocked at level 15. You'll need something to water the mill, but once you've got something to water it, you can go inside it and you can create flour from it. So for instance, I can create 491 flour from 1,473 wheat. That is the first ingredient in order to make cake that you will need. In order to get a stockpile of wheat, I suggest about 2 wheat plantations, depending on what kind of pals you've got. You can might well stretch it to 3, but it really does depend on the level of pals that you've got. And you also want it to be close to the fridge as well, so that it can transport it from A to B very quickly. The same goes for the next ingredient you'll need, which is berries. Now you'll need the raw red berries. As you can see, I have 3 plantations here, but they're not putting them in the fridge. I use them as a backup food in my feeder. Now when I say backup food, it's because my main food is salad, which can be created from lettuce and tomatoes. Salad is way better than berries. And if you put them in the first slot, put a couple of berries in the second slot, then they'll start putting all the berries into this here. Now you could put them in the fridge, it's up to you, but I like to have them to fall back onto. So if my pals were to run out of salad, then they'd start eating the berries. Doesn't always happen though. As you can see, I'm not exactly short on red berries. You want to put something in the other slot just to block it up, so I've just put honey, and then that is that done. Eventually you'll get a big stockpile of red berries just like that, in order to make some cake. The next ingredient on the list, as you can tell, is milk. Now in order to produce milk, you're going to need a pal that's capable of producing milk, and that is none other than mozzarella. Once you've put yourself a mozzarella, found around this location here at -109, -412, that's where they all are, you want to bring it back to your base and put it into a ranch. Once you put it into the ranch, it'll start passively producing milk. Then when you have your transport pals available, they'll pick up the milk and they'll run it over to the fridge. However, if you don't block your feeder off, like I've done, they'll take it to the feeder and then they'll start eating it. So always make sure you blocked the feeder off so they can't transport it to the feeder. If you block the feeder off, they'll take it to the fridge. And here's my evidence of that. I have 1,464 milk. The next ingredient you're going to need is egg. Now, eggs are formed in the same way as milk from the mozzarella, except for you'll need a chickpea instead. Chickpeas, you know where chickpeas are, they're everywhere. Well, in the starting areas. Just for reference, this is the heat map where they are. Night and day, they're pretty much in a lot of the early game places. Once you've got that, stick it in the ranch and do the same thing. Block the feeder off, and then they'll take the eggs and they'll put it in the fridge. Just to show you, I have 2,560 eggs. And the final ingredient is honey. Now I'll leave a card at the top of the video because I have a guide on how to get honey. But in short, like the chickpea and the mozzarella for milk and eggs, you'll need a bee guard for honey. But they can be quite tricky to acquire, which is why I've left the video there for you to watch. Once you've got all these ingredients, you're going to want to get the electric kitchen, which is the object you see here. Now the electric kitchen's unlocked at level 41, so it is quite a high level item to acquire, but it is the most efficient way of making the cake as well, because cake takes a long time to make. The next thing you're gonna need to make cake is a pal that's really quick at making cake, or better than other pals. Now the Jamontide Ignis is one of the best pals. They have level 4 in kindling, which is fantastic, and you can acquire perks on them from passive skills, such as work speed plus 20%, etc, etc. So if you can get a really good Jamontide Ignis, then eventually condense loads of Jamontide Ignises into that one and get it to level 5 kindling, it is the best pal for making cake. For anyone wanting to know where to get Jamontide Ignis, it is at -653, -117 on the little island sanctuary over here, north of the volcano. You cannot breed them, so unfortunately you will have to go and find them and catch them. But once you do have 2 of them that are the opposite genders, you can then breed them for more. I currently don't have a fantastic Jamontide Ignis, but if I were to make cake with the one that I've got currently, here it comes over. I'll show you the speed that it makes it. This is a level 4 kindling with a work speed of 20% buff, with a 20% work speed buff. And he's making it at a fairly decent speed, but it could always be better. So that's why I say try and get a Jamontide Ignis with level 5 kindling eventually through condensation, and with all the passive skills in it as well, and then you'll breeze through making cake. It's really ideal to have a stockpile of these ingredients and then just throw it all out there and start making cake. So I would stockpile ingredients before you start making them. Now for my pro tip, which surprisingly not many people know about, is how to store the cake so that it never expires. When you have a breeding farm like this, if you've got it to the point where there's nothing inside it, so how I operate is I have one over here, and one here. And occasionally, most of the time, I'm not using all 3 of them. What I'll do is I'll go to the empty one, And if you store the cake inside it, like so, it never expires. Now, whether this is a bug or glitch, I have no idea, but for the time being this works. So store your cake in a pen that you are not using and it'll never expire. Don't have to worry about it then. If you can't do that, sticking it in a cooler with a pal keeping it cool is the next best option. Anyway, so I hope that helped you on how to make cake. I hope that video helps you understand on how to make cake and how to store it as well. If it did, drop a like on the video. I guess it adds to more people so they can get the information as well. And if you want more Palworld guides, drop a subscribe and I will see you on the next one. Take care of yourself.